You what?
See in the bio.
Yeah, tracks in the bio. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Geek First Review. I'm the Clown Prince of 3 times, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by...
I'm the same shit, different day, Kirkland Patzer.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are a little delayed. We had a little miscommunication. Well, one was because, Kirkland, where you don't got to say where she went. Where did, well, I don't,
Shay's gone to the island for a couple days to visit some old high school friends.
Yeah,
So she's
so
got a
we're-
little girls' trip planned.
Yeah, so I originally going to do this Friday, but, nice guy I am. I'm like, no, you don't need to do that.
Very
Just
pleasant.
spend-
I'm glad you said that, too, because I legit was passing out at like 7:30. Like, I would not have made the review if we were going to go at like 8 o'clock or whatnot.
Oh, so you
I
didn't
was
even
so
hang out with
tired that
Shay?
day.
You just went to sleep?
We were both passing out on the
Okay,
on the couch.
that's fair.
So it was a mutual hangout of just passing out.
Yeah, so Kirkland and his significant other, spent a night together instead of doing this. So like, okay, we'll do it on the Saturday. And then which we are, but this was supposed to be releasing midday Saturday. So I think it was Thursday, whenever, in our GV3 chat we have on Facebook. Check out Originals. We're going to soon name all the different groups in Geekverse. But the one that's just me, Kirkland, and Taylor on our Facebook, because Dylan Briggs isn't on there. I feel like someone else left there, but there's Facebook's it's like the wasteland, But anyway, so we're talking, and Taylor at one point is like, "Oh, I think if you guys do 10 a.m., I can make it to the Rebel Moon review." Because me and Kirkland were going back and forth, and I said, "Oh, at first it was let's do 10 a.m. on Saturday because the girls will be away. I'll just have Ellie. If not, she can go to dance stuff, so I'll have some time." And then Taylor's like, "Yeah, if you do it, then I might be able to make it." And then I said, "Oh yeah, I can't make it now. Never mind." So then roll around, and I said this jokingly, but the problem is, I guess,
through text. You can't really read the room through a text.
Through text. I just thought after, almost 10 years of knowing me, someone might get the idea, but that's fine. There should, as I've always said, there should be a sarcasm font. I don't know why we haven't created it. As a society, once social media got so popular, like, why has the font never been decided? This is the sarcasm font. We're going to use this from now on, right? But anyway, so I say that, and then I asked Kirkland for an ETA, and me and him just private chat. Get no response there. And then in the GV3 chat, I can't remember where it came from, but Kirkland goes, "What time you want to review?" And I said, "Ready anytime you are." And this is like at 9:40, so I'm like, "Oh, he's done early." So cool, I'm ready to jump on. And then he's like, "Oh, but you said you can't make it." And I'm like, "What is this guy talking about?" I'm like, "I never said that." And then he reply down with an arrow pointing up, and that's where the miscommunication was, because I was just joking, saying, "Oh yeah, I don't want to review at 10 because I don't want Taylor Fuel to review," but Kirkland took it as a literal. So
in hindsight, I definitely should have maybe even interacted, because then you maybe would have clarified right there. You just said, "Yeah, Kirk, I can't do 10 anymore." And one thing, you never just say my name like that in a chat. It did seem strange, as opposed to just either directly adding me or something, or just saying something quick. It was like, "Oh, Kirk, I can't do 10 anymore." And it was replying to Taylor. And I was just like, okay, that was weird. Really quick turn of events. I'm pretty sure that was during just the day too, on Friday, when I was already having such a chaotic Friday there.
This man was looking at our chat 6 hours apart. We weren't getting much information from Kirkland Pats on Fridays. So
no, it was a busy week, but I mean, here we are. We can finally talk about it. I'm glad we're here together.
No Taylor though, so R.I.P. Taylor. We'll get his thoughts on Geekverse.
Maybe the next part. Maybe the next part he'll be able to meet us for 10 a.m.
Yeah, the next part, or the extended cuts. That's the thing, who knows.
Either
but we will do a Geekverse newscast this week, and we'll update us. So we'll, as our opening segment, we always do what are we watching now, and maybe Taylor will watch it by then. But you check out, he did. Oh, I don't know the movie. It's Sasquatch Sunset. I think it's one of the. Yeah, so he did that. So obviously that's a big thing for him, Mr. Cryptid. So we'll check that out. I'm very excited to see that movie. I'm going to see that one on VOD because you got to be picky. But it's. I'm excited to watch the movie and then go hear his review, because he said he had an awkward time watching with his mom as well. And I said, "Oh, there's some sex scenes," and he's like, "That wasn't even the worst of it." So I'm like, "Man, what?"
Oh wow.
What's been going on there? So yeah, but we are here to talk about Rebel Moon Part 2, the Scargiver. Obviously, if you want to know our thoughts on Part 1, me and Kirkland reviewed it months ago. I guess last year. I guess months ago, December. It's not that long, but it seems like ages ago. But we did
recent December. Wow,
yes.
Yeah, it feels way longer than that.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a good year, but it hasn't. So we have that review on there. And then, yeah, that's about it. We've reviewed, other than 300 and the Owls of the Gardens Gahul, we've reviewed every other Zack Snyder movie. So you can go look the DC ones, Watchmen. We did, what did we do for, right, Sucker Punch.
Sucker
So,
Punch, yeah.
yeah, so we've done them all. If we weren't so busy, we probably would have done 300 or Owls of the Guardians Gahul or whatever for this we usually do. But there'll be another one down the line. So, yeah, if you like Snyder stuff, we've been there. So, Kirk Pats are also, I feel like we were both semi mixed on the first cut. Obviously, again, the first part. Obviously, this is that whole rigmarole they're doing. Well, this is the 2-hour PG-13 one. There will be a longer rated R cut, but as we've said before, we're just going to review this one, how it was. So, after being mixed on that first part, where were you on part two?
Yeah, for part two, I feel like the fact that I was pretty lukewarm on that first part. I obviously had expectations kind of simmered because of just, I don't know, where we were at, like leaving that first part.
Yeah.
But I still want like some nice spark in the galaxy to really just, bring some hope into my world of this Rebel Moon universe, and just feel engaged and feel like I really want to be rooting for this crew and just really fall in love with this universe, because it is a very, I think, large scale universe that Zack Snyder's been able to create here, with just the different worlds and factions and things that are introduced. There's different just different villagers on the individual planets, showing like different fauna and animals. So like they really do, I think, put in some effort for the detailing of this world. But for the story and everything, like, I am just so not interested in this at all. I feel like this part really didn't do a whole lot more to like push the to push the needle forward on the overall storytelling of this, again, overall story. I really just feel like this movie, Trending With My Name, I think it's just like the same movie almost. Like by the end of it, it seems like we're in the exact same part. I'll save that specifically for when we get into the spoiler section. But yeah, I just
It's
think
not resolved. We'll just say
No,
it's
yeah.
not, because we were telling this on Vodka Stream, and this is because I was trying to like say a non-spoiler way. But I feel like if people are, because I feel like on our Discord, I threw it out. I'm like, who's watching this? I know Maddie's watched it, and then there's a lot of ho humming with everybody else. So if you were wondering, to save you the 2 hours of like, will be a complete journey, it's like a yes and no, but there's a big cliffhanger. So that's where, if you're, how on God's earth are they making 6 of these? I guess technically, I think the way it's pitched is that they're all part 1 and 2. So technically, it's like Kill Bill, where it's 3 movies but split into 2 parts. But
Gosh.
that's Snyder's dreams. I don't know if that's gonna happen. But
Yeah, and like I think after watching the first movie, although like I did think it was like a, I don't know, 6 or 7. It was the first movie, so it's like, okay, this is them just setting the table, and then we're really gonna be moving maybe at a faster pace in the next film, and they don't really do that at all. So while I was watching this one in particular, I was just like, I don't see how they're just gonna keep making more of these, especially like they haven't been received critically well, I don't believe. I don't know how this one's doing. I don't think it's doing better than what the first one was, and the
I think
first one
critically it's worse than than the first one. I get from the general Snyder fans that they like it more than the first one, so that's good for them. I just don't. The question is just like, what's the number, right? Because Netflix, like movies, they won't care if it's reviewed bad. If there's tons of people watching it, then they're good. But
That's true.
that's where it's like, okay, now we'll really see how diehard those like Snyder fans are, that are like, okay, if you're watching it and you like it more, then we'll see. If we don't hear a part 3 announcement anytime soon, then, or whatever part, I guess who knows. But if we don't get an additional film announced, then a little iffy.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think my initial feeling on it is like, I think it might be slightly better, like quality wise, of the first movie, but the fact that it was just so samesies in my mind, and I already knew these characters, and we were like just going more on like back on their, or sorry, like detailing their backstory, and just trying to, I don't know, cover more things that I think maybe should have already been covered. It just, it didn't really, like, my overall enjoyment was lesser than the first movie, I'm trying to say. The movie quality might be better, but I don't know. I'm not super fond of this one. I'm definitely not rushing to rewatch the first one. Like, coming into this one, I was just like, I don't even think I have to rewatch the first one to have it like really fresh in my memory, and I'm glad I didn't, because I feel like I got the exact same movie. But I don't know. We'll see if you disagree with me or not on that.
Does this make you? Let's say they do a third. Where are you on both the extended cuts, and where are you on a part 3 for your interest levels?
I probably won't be checking out the extended cuts unless like I hear some like really major praise
You don't
on
know, man.
like the
You don't
Snyder
even
cut
know.
jump from like
Yeah.
Justice League. You know, like I was a person that was just like, man, what is this Zack Snyder like cut thing going on? I've seen Justice League, it's terrible. Like, how can a certain cut really fix the movie? And I saw that, and I absolutely love that movie. So maybe if I'm getting some word of mouth that's in that range, then yeah, I will check it out. I think it would be worth it. Because there is still some things in this movie that I do like. Like, I still think visually, for the most part, it looks really good. Like, they did a really good job with a lot of just the fight scenes. I'm really iffy when it comes to specifically, like, Zack Snyder's usage of slow-mo. I feel like he really likes to crank up that
He
slow-mo
loves
meter.
it. Oh,
But, like,
yeah.
there was some shots in here that I'm like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. I like it's working for me here. So I think there is some moments that are good, but I don't know. The main glue that was holding it all together was pretty weak.
Yeah. And what about a part 3, like a
For
sequel to
part
this?
3,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm gonna be there. We made it this far. I'm not gonna
Really?
bow out now. I don't think.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you are bowing out, maybe I'm a little bit more inclined. But
Well, that's where
I'm
I'll
gonna guilt you into to having you join me.
Like, yeah, if you guilt me, and I will still see it. So that's the thing where that's the life of a podcaster, right? Because I have no problem saying many things we review is because, hey, this would be good for our channel. And I would say 85%, probably even 90% of the things we talk about are things that we're already interested in. We probably might see it at a quicker rate than maybe we would have with the podcaster, but I think there's maybe 10%. I would put Rebel Moon 3, whatever they call it, in that 10% of, well, I'm doing it for the pod now, because I'm very torn. I actually liked this less than the first one because for me, I'm not like it's weird to say like I'm not an action guy, but there's so many people like the action genre, right? Like even just like cops and shooting stuff like that. Like that's never been like Beekeeper. That's not my type of go-to. And this is different,
Crank?
right?
You never been a Crank guy?
Crank's great, but that to me is like it's action, but it's like it's fucking weird. I like the hook of the energy or the
Beekeeper's
adrenaline.
got
it. Beekeeper's got no hook like
I'm a
that
Beekeeper
at all.
defender.
Yeah, no. So that's the thing where for me there is the last hour of this movie is pretty much action, and I think like it's good, but to me it's not anything that's like Lord of the Rings, even some stuff we've seen just even recently with Dune. That also hurts it for me because I got Dune a couple months ago.
Yeah,
and it's like,
I had a lot of similarities in there. I'm like, man, this is like the weaker younger brother by
it
far.
does, like, and I don't want to say that because like I know Snyder is a talented guy. It just at times feels like the straight to DVD version of Dune, and it's just I'm not invested in this world. I was more invested in number 1 because okay, we're meeting the characters, but I still feel like we didn't get enough. Even here, we didn't get enough, and I'm a characters first type of guy, so it just feels very hollow, and it's tough because where I am with the cuts, right? Because if my history with Snyder and his cuts are, I loved Watchmen, and they said, hey, there's more of Watchmen. So I went, oh, great. That's perfect for me. BVS, I liked it, but didn't love it like a lot. Well, I once like whoever loved it. And when that cut came out, I remember there being this narrative of, oh, this does a lot of stuff. It fixes it. For me, I don't agree with that. I think they're not the same movie, but it doesn't in spades make it any better. It just explains some things. Cool. And then with Justice League, that is true where this cut is tremendously different. But the whole situation there is different because pretty much the director of that 2017 one is a different guy, right? It's not like Zach made that film like, oh, it sucked, but look at this. So it's like, I'm in this position now. It's like if he did do Justice League and I thought it sucked. And again, I'm also on the bandwagon where I don't think it's like some of the worst movies I've ever seen. I think people are being a bit too harsh on these movies. I just think they're generally like, meh, it's all right. Like that's where it is, or it's fine, but it's not worth my time per se as far as like to be very invested in, right? Again, I work from home, so it's a lot easier. And the podcast, sure. But that's the thing where it's like, yeah, we'll see, because Taylor's almost on this one. So maybe 3 will go around. But I just at the end of this, and this is where the biggest example was the first hour happened, and I stayed up. I was at midnight, and I was like, I'm going to work out during because I won't fall asleep. I was wide awake. I was, what the hell was it called? Banging and clang, as The Rock says, chills, all that stuff. And it was at 1 a.m. and I was just like, I don't want to stay up anymore. And it wasn't that I was fully awake. I didn't fall asleep till 1:30. I was just like, this isn't even worth it to stay up till 2 a.m., you know? And then and then the next day I didn't even watch it right away. I watched Late Night with the Devil. I watched the rest of Baby Reindeer, which is a fantastic Netflix series I'll talk about in Geek First. And then I watched, Greatest. Like, there's a whole bunch. It felt like, yeah, like I'm gonna get to, like I put it off and then I didn't even finish it. I till last night where I put it on. I'm like, well, surely I won't fall asleep because it's the battle scenes. I did, and then I woke up again at 6 a.m. today watching. I did, and then eventually I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait till later on because Kirkland, that whole mix of him. So okay, I'll finish it when I'm all fully awake. Yet, and I even went back. I fell asleep. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start a little at that dinner table scene, which I'm not a big fan of, which was tough because of vodka stream last night. I was like, oh yeah, I love that scene. I didn't say much. Because I'm not being negative as negative. I'm just like, oh, just haven't finished it. So
It sucks.
yeah,
I'll say it.
yeah. For me, it's like there's a good version of that scene, but I don't think that scene was it. That was a chance
Yeah.
to learn people, but it was just like a quick blurb, and we'll get into it in spoilers. But I hate the way it was set up. But yeah, I was fine, and again for the podcast. But who knows? We get busy in life, and if Rebel Moon 3 comes out at a time where we are busy, I would strike it as we might just talk about it on Geek First and maybe not a full review because I had no interest in where we're going. I hated that it was just like a full big cliffhanger. I'm still not invested in anybody that's not because I like them in real life. Even Jimmy, I don't care to spoil it. He is great. He's still barely in these things. I was thinking
Yeah.
like, man, part 2, like even him, like that's what's annoying. Like Snyder and the company have like created this really cool character. And I know someone, oh, well, that's what he'd be in the other 4. I don't want to wait for the fucking other 4. Like I still want to see the cool character here. So even that stuff that I was hyped about, I was let down on. So yeah, I didn't enjoy this one. I think the first one I passed, and this one like I guess it's like a minus, but I don't know if I can. I don't know where I am on a final score. I don't know if it's a pass, but I don't think so. And yeah, I can't recommend this for people that were. If you liked the first one enough, sure, check it out. But if you really didn't like the first part, there's no reason to do this. I don't think it's a big jump. I don't even think it's like a little jump. I think it's just kind of like the same. And yeah, that's where it's like that's for me the best example where I kept putting it off to finish it. And I didn't have that with the first one. And this one for me, I had more head scratching moments and really not for me. And that's where I was trying to get back with the cut though, right? Where the Watchmen loved it, BVS, like I don't have like BVS and Justice League. I was always going to check out those cuts because they feature my favorite character of all time, right? I've really no reason to check out the cuts. I will probably someday because I work from home, but that's the thing where if I didn't work from home and my life is busy, it's like, yeah, I might watch the cuts, but it's like one day in like next whenever there's nothing going on. Sure, like it might end up on a list that I never go to. I just have no pull to check out these things because even the initial stuff I'm not that jazzed with right now. So yeah, it sucks because then I don't know. I hope not. I don't know. I guess I hope he gets to do whatever he wants to do, and I guess that's where it's tough for me because I love Justice League, but I didn't really. I liked Army of the Dead. I thought it was fine, and I didn't like these 2 films. So I'm not really like the last few Snyder movies, and I liked BVS, but like the last 3 for me have not been great. I just feel like there was something that Snyder had a decade ago that was some sort of like special sauce, and I think it was a sauce that it's like cilantro where people love it or they fucking hate it, but and I guess people still are like that with these movies, but I don't know, it feels like there's something missing with these last 3, the Netflix era of Snyder. It doesn't feel like the exact same before. Yeah, so that's my thoughts. It's just kind of a meh, and I don't really have much interest. It's not my tempo, this universe, there's nothing really here for me, unfortunately, so.
It's super unfortunate. It's the type of feeling too after watching this one. If no one has ever seen like Rebel Moon and was asking me about it, like I'm like, yeah, it's not even worth jumping into. Like just go watch some other content out
There's
there.
so much stuff out there, and there's so much like again, we're in the same year that Dune came out. And there's other. That's the tough thing nowadays for everybody. And I'll be interested to see what the viewership is for the second part because there is just so much stuff and so much good stuff. Yeah, I could never recommend this really to anybody. Where Watchmen, even with Snyder, it's like, oh, I can recommend this, or obviously 300 is more mainstream, and BVS is a certain crowd, but this is like, I don't know, if you really, really like space stuff and you want something new, well, it's there. Or you really like a certain actor. If you like Sophia Botella, if you like Jaimin Hunsu, they got some dialogue speeches, but
It's like Anthony Hopkins' voice.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins' voice. Yeah. Maddie says, it drags for me because these movies have killed any desire to watch a 3-hour version, even though it's a rated R. Would prefer the rated R version start, but they've lost me. And I think that's a lot where I feel like already, because it's tough for me because I'm a man of two worlds where I just live in, I have a friends group that's very hardcore into Snyder stuff, and then I have a friends group that's not at all. And I just feel like, even people that liked Justice League and Army of the Dead, I felt there was like a Rebel Moon came out and everyone's like, yeah, I'm not that interested. And now I feel like it's even more so. Like I feel like it's now like people are just don't people that aren't hardcore in the camp are just ready to move on. And now when it comes, and it's to the point where who knows what happens with Big Dan Lin, because he's changing some stuff and he's the new guy, and he's notoriously in the past that he was not, it sounds like he was not a fan of Snyder's movies. I'm very curious what, like, Rebel Moon or Army of the Dead, and this would be a conversation for another day, but what they would have done in the theaters. And I'm curious what Snyder's interest level is the next time he puts a movie out in the theaters. That's not a property. You know, like what is the interest there? Do people come out and see it? And it's tough with streaming because even then it's easier to watch and click on, right? But overall, yeah, I'm treading wheels here, or treading water. I can't recommend it. I didn't enjoy my time with it, and there's a couple cool scenes. I don't think people are like generally bad, except for the same guy we kind of ragged on the last review. I'm not a fan of this one character, and yeah. Anything else non spoilers?
Nope. I'm ready to get
Okay.
into it.
Yeah, we're going to take an ad break before, as usual. Everything you need to know is down below. The Patreon, the video, the audio. Patreon, next week, you're going to be getting 2 episodes for the Phase 2 and Phase 3 people. You got our X-Men Fantasy Draft Part 2, where we're doing the villains, which is going to be really good. And then we're going to do the originals, which should be a fun one. We're going to kind of talk about life in general, but then figure out what we do team names, because we're always like, man, what do we call each other when it's just me and Kirkland, or, you know, me, Dylan, and Kirkland? We're going to do that. So check out SideQuest. It's a good two-hander.
Green Escort.
The Green Escort, yeah. So, but if you now don't care about spoilers or you've seen the movie, we'll take a break and we'll be right back. And we are back. So I wanted to go back to the dinner scene, because that's something where, for me, I thought that's the moment where I was going to link in, but I hated Jarman Hantu. He tells a story, and then he literally looks around and says, all right, before we go into battle, you almost tell your story.
Your
and I was
turn,
like,
yeah.
man, like... I guess there's a way to make that work to me if like Jaimin Hansu was almost like a Drax-esque character where he's very in your face, very kind of like naive or dumb, like caveman, right? Like I tell my story, you tell yours, but like he comes off as sophisticated. And I also get I know what they're trying to do. If we're going to war, let's do our war stories, let's bond. But it was just the way and how sudden it was. It just felt like I do this all the time. When I write, you put like a placeholder thing here, and then I'll put a paragraph of like circle back. Like right now I'm writing a script, and I knew I wanted to give this character a long description, but I didn't want to do that right now. I wanted to think of a few more other things and everything. So I'm like, okay, I introduced the character, and I put intro here, cycle back later. But that's where it felt like he didn't cycle back. He just like, he didn't circle back and just left us, you tell your story.
He didn't
and that
leave
was
a note.
it.
He didn't leave a note.
Yeah, he didn't leave a
to come
note.
back
And
to.
I was just, and then we get these stories, and and I imagine, I do agree, because they're telling this vlogger stream, I do agree that I bet on the radar cut, those are probably longer. All those, I imagine, they're gnarlier. Maybe they're all 10 minutes. But, like, one, I guess some of them I was not that interested in. Like, the guy with the long hair that's always shirtless, I didn't really care about. Like, I get it. It's like, okay, he was a king of a kingdom. Like, there's something, that's what is frustrating to me, is Rebel Moon. There's something cool here, but the way they do it isn't cool.
Yeah.
I think there's something cool about this guy that was a king of a planet, and he's lost it, and he's a king without a country or a planet or a throne, whatever. But there's just some of the story of like, I didn't care. They have this slow-mo with the mum that just makes it like comedic for me. Like I was
100%.
Yeah,
especially he's like, she couldn't abandon her people, so she stayed, and then she just like gives a coward's death.
Yeah,
Just
she stayed all right.
suicides, like right before.
It's not like she watched everybody or fought with them to the end. Like, nah, I'm just gonna kill myself in this situation.
Like the soldiers don't know that. Where's our queen?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And
I
there's
think I
just-
saw her fall.
And there's just even weird stuff like earlier on, and that's what I've heard in the other cuts, like the sex is bigger. So maybe, hey, that'll be one thing to come back to, and that's great if you're looking for that. But that, like, you know, I don't need that. But great. Like fantastic. If you like this, that's good that there's gonna be sex here. There's poor things out just recently. There's lots of other things, but like, sure, have sex in the movies, great. So they bang it out. Corin, that guy, I can't remember. He's good looking dude with nice wavy hair. He's like, I'm jealous of his hair. Every time I see his hair, I'm like, yeah,
Gunnar or whatever his name is.
I'm not gonna remember that fucking name. I'm sorry if the person that listened to your guys' Dune review that gives a 3-star review said, well, you guys need to have more prep time before you review these movies. You shouldn't be forgetting the names. Well, you're not gonna like this. I'm not calling him fucking Guntar or whatever. Maybe I will now, but it's like whatever. It's a fucking movie. We're not studying for a test here, user. I appreciate you listening, but like, let's like chill out, man. It's not that serious. So the guy, every time I see him, like, good hair. I'm jealous. Every time I see this man, like, he got a good set of hair. It's wavy. Everything's looking like Patrick Dempsey, Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. So they bang it out, which they really don't bang it out. They just, and I'll get there. That felt forced and jumped, and I get why they did it now. But anyway, so this happens, and she tells the whole story. I have issues with that story too. But it felt weird that she did her flashback story while they're in bed, and then later on everyone was doing her flashback story, and then she just talked about it. I felt like they didn't even do it at the beginning. She should have just done it there. Like, the pacing of that was weird. So that dinner scene, which when we got there, I'm like, oh, this could be the moment where right before battle, because the first, I'd say that's like 15 minutes before the battle. So it's like the last hour is the battle, 45 minutes is prepping for the battle. Then there's the 10 minutes of the dinner table scene. I thought, okay, I've heard the last hour is a battle. So this dinner scene is maybe going to get me hooked into these characters. I'm going to really care. Here we go. And it really just felt like the Cliff Notes version of something. And yeah, it didn't invest me anymore. Maybe Jaimin Hunsu like a little bit more, because I did like that story, but even then I want a bit more there. And again, for people to go, oh, well, there could be more on the radar. Doesn't matter. This is the film I saw. And for what I saw, it was extremely lacking.
Yeah, we're gonna rate the product that we saw here today.
Yes.
The Jaimin Hunsu one was another one that made me laugh so hard. I don't know why, but it just seems so over the top. Like, to literally just execute this group of soldiers with like an artillery
Death Star.
Essentially,
just fire squad them, dude.
How is there no like close quarters casualties just caught in the collateral damage here? Like the king's soldiers are just like standing right there. As
they're going for the budgets. They're like, who spent $20 million on all this laser? Oh, well, we hit that. What'd you hit that plant? Well, we want to send a message to this general. We lined up 10 of his guys.
30 guys.
Yeah, we fucking boom, 20 million. You're fired. Get the fuck out of here. And like, why did they leave Jaimin Hunsu alive even too?
Oh, I know. Yeah, like slit his throat after that. Like he saw his people die. I don't know. It seems strange there, but no, I'm completely in agreement with you here on this dinner table sequence. The way that it was starting up, I thought that this was going to be like a really nice scene that like just moment. Really go. Of just I don't know. Our heroes are really rallying together. I was getting like some little glimpses of like some like pre-Helm's Deep battle where like our soldiers are just like talking to each other. Yeah. like something like that to the equivalent. But it was just I think it's also just the execution of, like you said, like just passing around the talking stick and like, okay, now you tell me all about you.
Yeah.
The multiple times watching this movie, it made me think of like, I think maybe they should have done like a series for this project. I think we would have just had so much more time to really stretch out like some backstory content like this, as opposed to having every character tell us their backstory. Whereas it's to the point that I don't even remember like most of their backstories, because I just like remember the ones that really like stood out, mostly the funny ones like the King of the Kings and the Jaimin Hunsu. Obviously, I do remember some of what the other ones, but they don't really stick with me as much as they should, because they like these are the main backstory of these characters that we got some backstory on them when they were introduced, but this is really I guess the moment to have us get attached to these characters. And I just think it's so poorly done in like the scene. It's not a short scene because we do go through every character, but it's just so forgettable for how it's done. I think, again, like if they would have just been able to pace it through like different moments, like maybe just have two characters talking at like a different stage of the adventure, and that's when you get Jaimin Hunsu's backstory, and then later on you get someone else's. So I just thought it was a really sloppy way of doing that, and to my point of it just maybe being better as a series. I also felt that with just like our main villain, the way that he was just like back early like on in the movie. I was kind of complaining about that in the trailers. I'm like, I know he was coming back, but like they really just I don't know, like it's as if he didn't even have like a near death incident at the end of the
No,
last movie.
nothing
He's just
changed.
he's
They
he's
even
looking
mentioned
gross in the cocoon and like she loves cocoon to start the movie. But then he's just like right back up and it's like they could have stretched this out too,
yeah,
like a little bit longer.
and it wasn't my catch. Someone mentioned on Vlogger Stream, it was like this great note that they're like, "Oh, you're not complete. Like you're not out of the thing yet." And then when he comes out, it's like, "Oh, there could be an opportunity there to maybe make him a little bit more off kilter or more
Yeah.
violent or something." But he's just the same dude as always, you know. And I
It's
just,
the exact same.
you know, and I was fine with him a lot because I think he got kind of memed on the first go around. I was fine with him. I think he's doing his job right as he's playing like a Nazi soldier. I think what I was disappointed from, and this is where I don't care, it's a little bit better in part 2, but I still think Zach needs a cinematographer. There's this moment where he is invading the base and he jumps down into this like, you know, the tunnel from Call of Duty, and he's like taking out all these people, and it's supposed to be like this cool scene, but it's just like a backup shot of him just like taking people. Like I just thought there was a moment of, oh, there's a bunch of guys that aren't as trained as him stuck in a very like a 5-foot tunnel. He's gonna fucking go havoc here. And it's not really. It's just like he's just walking by, taking people out. Like he's like, all right. And that's the thing. It's like always like there's these cool ideas, and it's just like you got the low fat or like less spicy version. Like, oh, make sure that butter chicken's not spicy. Like that's when it's just like, like come on. And again, maybe. And that's a problem too. Yeah, there could be something radar, but then it just doesn't work here. And he was fine, but he was just there to be. I thought there'd be more development with him. It's tough, right? I thought there'd be more development with him and like the bigger Emperor dude, but at the same time, I don't like seeing the Emperor dude on my screen. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just the few scenes again he was in here. It's just like I have no interest in us taking him down. I hated Korra's whole backstory. That was to me. I just think it was the way it was. There's some cool stuff about the music and the way some of the characters look, but so what? They all decide to kill this family, and because it's a big thing, they decide just to throw it all on Korra. And it's just like, all right, I feel like that's a rush development, but still, whatever. I'll like go with you. But like how she gets out of there, it feels like I'm watching like a kid's play of like she just turns, shoots some guys, and like holds a gun up, and then they let her run. It's just like that's it. Like for this character who we've been told they're looking for, they want her. That I would understand if it's like, no, they want her to go, like let her go so she can make it like, oh, yeah, she killed him and she can't answer, right? Like we can make everyone turn against her because she's out there on the run. But they've told us in the first movie and the beginning of this movie that they want Korra back, right? So this escape scene, like it's just the whole breakup. And the weird thing is like, I don't know. She didn't become a good person. She stopped doing this because they framed her for it. Like she has this moment right where it's Carrie Alloway's, which I was bummed about because I love Carrie. He's in here for a hiccup, so that sucks. But it's a royal family. It's him, his wife, and a daughter, and she's Princess Alana or something. Apparently, she has like some magic powers. Cool. That's the big cliffhanger. She's alive and she has magic. Great. I don't give a fuck. I ain't coming back for magic. I got enough of that in my life, you know. So, anyways. They're walking, they do the red wedding thing where everyone's killing them, and it's like the Emperor dude, and she's there, and she has a gun on the little girl. She doesn't want to shoot. The Emperor says, you gotta do it. So she shoots the girl, kills her, and then the Emperor's like, oh, Scargiver the traitor! And they're all like, traitor, traitor! And just very, for me, not a good scene. I just don't think it's well done at all. And like I said, she just kind of gets out of there by like killing a couple guards and they just let her go. But that was the thing of like, she didn't turn against the Empire because she finally had a moral lesson of, man, this is bad. Like I would have even been fine if she killed that girl. And then the second they asked her to do something else, she's like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like you just had me assassinate this little girl. Like this is the line for me. I can't go any further. And then have them say, okay, you're a traitor. We're gonna just pin on you because if you're not with us anymore, fuck you. You're gonna take the bullet. But it's just they just decide you're the traitor to throw it on somebody, and she's just like good by default. She got excommunicated. Yeah. And I get it. You can say, oh, at the end she's good, but she's like, even like our character, I'm looking to have like a little backbone. And how am I supposed to invest in this? Well, they're a good guy because the bad guys threw her out. It's like, what? Like, so that whole scene again, that really just made me not interested in anything with the Emperor, Korra, the princess, and that's the first 20 minutes, and that's just like, oh, this is not going well for me right now for my enjoyment level.
No, I'm pretty much yeah, Queen. You felt on that scene as well. I don't know, like leading up to it, I thought it was gonna be this really nice, just orchestral like climax. Especially we
Mhm.
have like the classical, like violins going for the
Yep.
scene. But when it was like actually happening, it just felt so corny and cheesy. And yeah, you have the Belisarius character who's like I forget what they call him, but like that's his name, but he's like the regent or something. Like he's
Mhm.
not the king now, but something along those lines. And it just didn't make sense why he was just like freaking out at Scargiver. It's like shoot her,
Yeah.
shoot. It's like she was the only one that had a gun in that entire room, and it's just like do it. And then like as you're mentioning, she has this like moral dilemma, but not really because she still fucking shoots the
Yep.
princess and then just like bounces in a really. I don't know. It's like they just had the difficulty
It's
slider like way down
awkward.
to easy for
Oh,
her to
it's
get out
it's
of there.
100%
Yeah.
that. It's like, why aren't the dudes attacking you? Why can't they see Agent 47? Oh, you're playing on easy? Cool, dude. You just want to be the experience? That's fine. Yeah, have a good time. But like for the movie, like that's where it's like, instead of cramming all the action in, give me a cool 5-minute chase scene of her escaping out of there. But no, it's just like just easy. She just it's just like a breakup after 3 days. Like, yeah, this isn't working. Yeah, it's not really working. All right, see you later. Okay, bye. Like she just walks out of there. Like she has one
Oh
gun.
man.
This dude has like 20 people with him, you know? Like
More so than that. Like there was a lot of people in that room that were on his side, all holding weapons, I thought,
and
unless I'm
haven't they
mistaken.
insinuated maybe it's something to do with this princess now after the fact, but he has some sort of powers, right? I will
Yeah.
give them that maybe he got the powers after because maybe he takes them from this princess, but at this present time, we don't know that. So I'm just assuming this character might have some sort of whatever the version of the Force is here in the Rebel Moon universe. So it's just like heavily powered Emperor guy and his goons, and it's a one-way door. You just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Man, yeah, though the for me just the cheese factor was through the roof in that moment. Like having the king just just like a wounded animal just screaming like no, don't do it. It was just taking so long for her to finally shoot her. The princess is like I forgive you, which just seems so strange. It's like she's this Gandhi type character, which like
well, I think they're
I
making
don't
she's
think,
gonna be. I think,
but like they haven't set up like
no, but
for
that's
her to
what part
be
three's
this
gonna
character.
be.
So okay, fair enough. But in the moment, I thought it was just hilarious. And then yeah, you got Cora like, don't shoots her
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck she says. You shouldn't. But yeah, no,
And then you got the
that whole
fucking Emperor
sequence did
guy
not work
just
for me.
screeching at the top
Yeah.
of his lungs.
Oh
You
no!
killed the princess. It's like, oh, it was just like not like we like you killed Ray Fisher off in the first movie. Like, couldn't we put someone else here? Like, I don't know. Again, maybe just a script and whatnot, but I just like, yeah, just none of that worked for me. And even the beginning too of. And I get it now because Gunther with the good hair, they're gonna kill him off at the end of this movie. Of course, he has to drop the fucking. Both of them dropping the "I love yous." It's like, all right, always in these fucking
Yeah.
movies, you know. But just like, I, I think we talked about this in the first movie, but I got the vibe that there was some attraction there. If anything, maybe they were banging, but I didn't think it was that deep yet, right? So
Yeah.
I could buy maybe down the series that you know I love you, but the fact that first 5 minutes they're kissing, they get on, so it's like okay, I guess I got to work this out. But it just felt like it was very lovingly. It felt like they had already like end of part one gone together now. But even then, as America, this happened within 5 days, so that just felt very rushed too, and I didn't buy any of that. And I actually think their chemistry's not awful. I think it's like not anything like flying off the screen. I'm like, okay, I could
Yeah.
buy this, but again, some marinade and I guess like I don't know. I appreciate one thing that he did have stakes and he did kill off multiple characters in the end there. So it was a thing of like not everyone made out scot free. It was hey, you can lose people in this war, and I do think that's great. If you were to make all like the rest of these 4 movies, it is like a hey, you like a character, but they could be taken out. So that is cool. I think that there's just the execution of when they lost him could have hit a bit more. And I think they just went with the I love you to try and make it feel like, oh, we're going to rush to, you're supposed to feel this because they love each other. But I almost would have liked if they didn't hook up or they didn't say that. And it would have felt like a missed opportunity. And I felt like he was trying to do that because he had Cora say that to him when he was already dead, right? So I feel like he was trying to go for the like it felt like a missed thing. I guess it just didn't fully hit with me, and there wasn't enough focus on them in these both two-parters for me to buy into that. So
No, I again, I completely agree with you here. This is another thing that I think if we had it in a series, like it wouldn't have
Mm.
felt such a jump maybe from what the relationship was, because I do agree with you that they have some chemistry there, but it just seems like the relationship, even though they were like close in the first movie, it just seemed going from that first movie to this one is just such a jump on how close they are. And by the end of it, they're just, yeah, embracing, saying I love you. And it seems so fast. And for that reason, I think it brings just the whole quality of that dynamic down, because they just skip to the finish line as opposed to either doing what you had pitched and do it like in they just didn't have enough time to really explore what might have been, or just give us more scenes of them like actually having those bonds. But I think for the 4 hours or so, whatever the collective runtime is for the two movies, I just don't think you really have time to squeeze that in there. So like, why even
Yeah.
do it? That's
Yeah.
my thoughts, at least.
Just have them be good friends. I would have been fine with that. Like that's the same. I
Yeah,
could almost buy
you can
that
kill them
more.
off and to still have it like feel
Yeah.
meaningful without it being
Don't
like
need
I
to
love
fucking be in
you.
love. Yeah. It's like
I
like
know.
I haven't fucked Kirkland, but if he gets killed in the battle, like I'm gonna feel upset about it, at least for part 2 and part 3. I'll find
You
someone
won't hear
else.
my
But
backstory though. That's what you hear in
no,
bed.
no, he didn't get his backstory because he's just a regular guy. He didn't choose
Man, when,
violence.
when they're in the dinner table scene, and it literally goes through every character. Then it goes to fucking Dario Naharis from Game of
Mhm.
Thrones.
Yeah.
That's his character there, and he's just like, all right. He like stands up. He's like, I guess that's it for me, and he just like saunters off. I'm like, oh, I guess we're not getting that guy's main
You all are
story.
fucked up, Well, he has no backstory. They just lived on this planet that was great, I guess, until Noble and
Yeah.
the Sovereign never really showed up, I guess, right? But I did enjoy the scene where Cora tried to give herself up, and then he got the rifle and he shot the bell. I like that. I like that he was trying to make it like you're.
Yeah, I
He,
like that moment.
I like it for him, even though she was completely right. Like, if the deal was just to give herself up for the village, like, yeah, you give the village, you go. Like, you're not, you're a fucking visitor here. And it's just, especially to me, if it would have been she didn't kill that princess, she tried to save her. Again, she got excommunicated because, like, we just got to pin this on somebody. So it's not even like I'm invested in her as a hero. It just feels like, I, like, yeah, have her go. She did terrible stuff. Go back. Like I don't need fucking like our innocent people and the lightsaber girl and Gunther with the good hair to die. Like this is a sweet deal. They said like I'll just take the crops and you and everyone else is safe. Now there's probably a version where they're just lying, right? So that's where I can headcanon myself where they'll probably just take her and then still kill everybody, right? So that's where I do agree with Gunther with the good hair, like, let's just shoot this bell and get it on. And I did appreciate too, like, he shoots that off right away. Someone pops out of the ground and Noble's like he's never been in a battle in his life. He's like, oh my God. He gets shot and like, it was actually a good moment. I like that. That's how surprised they were. And right away they take down a big ship. Like, I like that it was okay. They had the 5 days and they fucking strategized. It wasn't just like they ran out and was like, oh, like they were ready to go. So I did like the start of the battle. And again, none of the battle stuff I thought was bad. I think there was that kind of moment like in Fast and Furious. Have you seen all the Fast and Furious movies?
No.
There's one where there's a plane taking off on a runway and it feels like it goes on forever. That's how it felt like the ship when it was falling down. It's like, man, this ship is going down for a long time.
Yeah.
But there's some cool shots of them going like falling down and sliding and everything. So I like some of the battle stuff. It's just because I'm not as invested in the characters that I eventually gets a little numb when it's just 45 minutes straight. But I really liked that opening of Noble landing, the talk, the shooting of the bell, them hiding in the sand, hiding different places. I think crescendos right when like Jimmy lands and kicks ass. Then after that, that's when I
Yeah.
start to go on like, okay, I feel like I'm like it's not doing as much for me there, but there's
Yeah.
aspects of it I liked.
The Jimmy landing, that was definitely the peak for me, because that's another thing that, I mean, that's like the main thing that I was looking forward to going into the second part. And I think the execution of it was definitely satisfying. It met my expectations there, but it was just very limited in the overall landscape of what this movie is. Jimmy is just Jimmy is such a side character. He was non-existent really in that
Side
first
character.
part. And then
That's
here-
being nice. My God.
yeah, he's a
Like,
miscellaneous character, if that's a
Yeah.
category. He is very forgettable. Like, he's not forgettable because he's got a great look. I chose
Yeah.
him as our wallpaper here today because he's my favorite part about this series.
Mhm.
And he's got another moment to just kind of share his philosophical ideals with another character on screen, and like I love those little one-on-ones that he has, but
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I was just a little bit let down that he wasn't in it more. I think that the action across the board, as well as maybe the preparation sequence, that was probably my favorite part about this movie. For yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite part of it,
What,
just because of
not to be mean, but like, what else would be? Like,
yeah,
like what else is
uh,
there?
like seeing the king cry about his daughter getting
Yeah.
shot. No, yeah, no, you're definitely right there. And man, like even just thinking about like the overall setting for this battle, it's just like again, this is just the same location where we where we were at on the first. I understand maybe the big final battle wasn't in the same place, but it just seemed that we kept coming back to this one little village to get this grain. That like this is just such a this is like getting the plans to the Death Star, getting this
Yeah.
grain. Like it is that important. And maybe some people's gonna make the argument. It's like, well, that fits the world because there is just like such a famine going around that like it's almost like Dune with the spice. Like that's the most valuable thing. That this grain is the most valuable thing in the universe. But I don't know. It's also like just the terrain. I feel like it was good
Well,
enough to see in the first movie, but I want to see different and new locations
yeah.
going up.
And plus, like the real big final battle takes place on like a CGI ship where like I don't think the first movie
Yeah.
did, but it's like a CGI type of ship in the air again or something, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, you're right.
and it was fine. That one definitely I know it has to be rated R because when they like trap him in the door and cut his head off and it like cuts him, I'm like, oh, like it's a little anticlimactic there. How are you
Yeah.
feeling that we got to see more of them in action, like the molten swords or whatever? You got the blue ones, you got the orange ones. How do you feel they have this effect where it's like the lightsabers have this bit, but they definitely had more of like when something swishes, they leave like a longer trail because it's like fire
Yeah.
and smoke, right?
No, I thought those looked really really cool in action. I think there were some moments when the lady with the duel I should have her name, but the one that
No,
fought the spider
yeah,
lady.
3 stars. Yeah, the lady that
Um,
took out Hamana.
yeah, Nemesis. There you go. That's her name.
Right.
When she was like deflecting some like shots or blaster shots, whatever it was, it looked a little stiff with her movements. Like it didn't look as fluid as maybe some prequel Star Wars action might be. But I don't know. It served its purpose there. I feel like again that's just something else that should really hit a lot harder. I am usually just such a sucker for cool looking action, like action. Your list you were mentioning earlier, like action movies. It's not really like your main like category of films. I feel like for a big portion of my life that 100% was my category. So I still
Yeah.
have a lot of love for it, especially just seeing like the choreography. And I thought, especially just coming off of things like Dune, John Wick last year, like there's just Monkey Man is another recent example of just like what they can do
Yeah.
with the hand-to-hand combat. And I think although maybe the actual shooting of the shots looked good, maybe the overall movements of the action stars on screen wasn't peak for me. If I compare it to some other properties that I've seen, but yeah, no, I like to see some more of that. I did laugh when the big bad got his head chopped off because I'm like, man, like he's probably fucking back first thing next movie
Oh,
now.
I
They're
hope
gonna
not,
they're gonna have him
man.
in a cocoon with his his head. He's gonna be out in like 10 minutes. We're going back to Velt. We got unfinished business with that planet.
Yeah. Every movie is just they on the fucking Velt and they're just trying to get this grain still, you know. Oh.
Don't matter how many fucking times you guys have to bring me back or how what's the budget is for this effect or sorry this goal to get all this grain. They're getting that grain one way or the other.
Yeah. Oh, let's take an ad break. We'll probably get into some other final thoughts, ratings, stuff like that. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, anything more on Noble? Yeah, he came back. He's about the grain as always, and he found out the Scargiver was there, so that was good. And I felt like they made this deal. It was. I found it odd when the village is like, or Cora and them come back. They're like, it's over. Like, they're so confident. They show like it's over, it's done. We saved the day. Like why would happen? oh, we kill Noble. It's over. And then they're like, well, the fucking general is just calling something about their grain. Like, why? Like, it's like if this is like you said, whatever the universe wants. But let's say it's up to Noble and other people. Hey, these are your countries, planets, whatever. Go look after them, get the resources. And I would assume that they would know, or somebody would know, hey, Noble and his whole crew are going here. And someone would say, oh, he was going there because they're going to get the grain in here. So I just found it very odd that our heroes thought just killing this one dude meant that's it. We've saved the planet. Like, literally, like, it was funny. Like, it was literally 5 minutes before the planet people got a call, like, yeah, we're still coming on Tuesday. Like, I hope you're ready. Like, it was an odd jump to where it just felt very almost, I hate to say this, but just like a spoof of a space movie. Like, it just felt like it was so, oh yeah, we kill Noble. That is it. Like,
You're lying. You're lying. That one character.
Like, what? Like, and then I just love the battery. Like, no, they're still coming, and we're fucking screwed. And all the heroes like, oh my god, we still got to fight. Like, they're very odd. But yeah, Noble wasn't. They gave more action stuff in here, but again, to me, it wasn't impactful. I was hoping for a bit more fear coming at him, or to feel like, okay, even if this character who like I'd say is half baked, but not necessarily always in a bad way, like he's there to play, kind of a discount on Hans Landa, but that's fine. But I was like, okay, this is where like Hans Landa, he never went on the field and started kicking ass, right? This is where Noble, and I'm thinking Snyder movie, and he did do that. He got on the ground and kicked ass, but I just wasn't like, oh shit, like it's not like the first time we saw Thanos open up on the Hulk and you're like, oh my god, like he can actually do this too. So it just was it was fine. And again, I don't really care about any of the big bad guys, the main bad guy, the Emperor, Noble, like it was,
Yeah, no. I think I liked Noble more actually in the first movie. He just seemed a lot more calm, collected, and like in the man in charge. Like I think just the confidence of a character like that adds to their fear factor for me. And in this one, he seemed kind of the same and just a little bit lesser. Maybe moments like when the guy pops out of the ground and he's just it's like he's playing Five Nights at Freddy's or something. Like he just totally gets spooked, and like he's retreating, at part. Like he just seems a little bit more on the back foot here. And I also just see it such a drop of the ball to not have any real like effect of like his basically death. Like I'm not even gonna call it like a near death. Like I'm actually gonna call it like he did die and they brought him back to life. And I just feel like it's a missed potential to not really lean into what a change that could have on maybe someone's psyche or just their overall like the way that they carry themselves. Maybe they're more menacing now because they just have some death rage in them. Like I like he just is the exact same character of the first movie. And like why even have this near death? Like just have him escape. Have him escape like Cora did when she fucking shot the princess. Like,
and it's weird because the excuse could have been, because they do that, right? The heroes say, well, he's dead and we saved it. You could have done that where, they think it's over, and then this dude comes back you thought, they're not invading, and then they do invade, and you're like, fuck, we're
like
not prepared.
When Zod arrives, it's like one of those moments. That could be
But
crazy.
they were prepared. They were, and then they were prepared even when Noble not come back. And then Atlanta's like, oh, Noble's back. Okay, cool. And like, you gave me a scar. And so I was like, okay, all right. But yeah, so it's just lots of choices are head
just reminded me of the fucking Scar moment. She's the Scargiver, and she gave him a scar.
Yeah.
Fuck off with that. That's so bad.
I like the one scene that Jimmy / James, they call them that. And again, just even little stuff too, where she says like, oh, you and us teaming up, that's their nightmare. And he drops down, he does help. And then at the end, they find out the princess. Like, well, I gotta help you now. The princess is alive. It's like, dude, you've been helping. Like, you just fucking helped us. Like, what? Like, what does it matter? Like, I again, it's just that's fine because I guess you could argue, well, is the robot gonna leave the planet? I guess no, he's not. But it's like, I would assume so because he's going against this protocol and he's fighting the Empire. So it just was weird. Where he's like, yeah, I am now with you.
I'm ready to break my one rule of not killing anyone. It's like, dude, we just saw you. We just saw you killing people. He's like, no, that wasn't me. Are you sure that was me?
And you thought the princess was dead. So it's like, now, like, what does it matter? Like, and how does he know? He's this robot and he's just taking their word like, princess alive. Well, princess alive. I must help you. That's the way it is. So yeah, I was disappointed. Jimmy, one of the coolest things I think I've seen in a sci-fi thing end up being very lackluster. That to me felt like a. I understood part one of okay, they had to go and get everybody in multiple planets, so that's fine. Of why he runs off, but I was like, okay, part two, we better deliver. And no, it's just it feels like a, it feels like the MCU, which is so frustrating. It feels like the MCU when they could only get an actor for a certain amount of time, or any franchise, right? It's like okay, they're here for two scenes, like Daredevil in Echo. It's like, hey, it's one scene, it's not his show. Wish we get more, but whatever. We're getting Daredevil show. This is a fucking CGI practical robot. Like, I don't care if even if the excuse is, well, we couldn't get Anthony all the time. Fuck Anthony Hopkins. I love Anthony Hopkins, but like I don't like the character because Hopkins. Like that's an added bonus. That's cool. I think it's a great voice, but I like the character. So it's weird. Maybe it's a budgetary thing. So if you were telling me that, sure. But then I would say cut the budget some other places, some other I would sacrifice screen time for both movies for about 3 to 4 of these characters just to get more Jimmy, you know? Like there's that one lady that joined that I still don't know much about with like the buzz cut. You got fucking the blood, whatever that sister is, like Ray Fisher's sister, who's like around. It's just like like I just don't care. So yeah, Jimmy, very disappointing with him.
Leaving that first movie, going into this one, like I would have expected him to be like in the main crew, for the entire length of this movie. Just kind of with how he was set up. As you mentioned, I do understand why he was limited in that first appearance, but
yeah,
like why have him skulking out in the shadows for so much of this movie? Like just get to it. Have the cool character join up and like have him at that dinner table. Have him give us his backstory. Like I'm so much more interested in that than just pretty much everyone there, actually, especially after hearing them. Like even Titus, like it seemed like it was kind of a given in the last movie of kind of like what had happened. Like okay, he was this general, he did something, now he's kind of dishonorable for his own honor. Like he obviously is carrying a lot of weight on his shoulders. I don't need to see the scene of the fucking Death Star murdering his 20 troops or whatever it was. So yeah, I'm really disappointed with where they wanted to highlight their focus, I think, in this movie. And I really don't have any confidence that they're like gonna switch it up for the next movie. Like Jimmy's probably gonna have 72 seconds of screen time next movie if we're going off of what the track record is for these previous two. I might be slightly hyperbolizing, but like still, like I really have low expectations there, and that's the coolest character so far in this series, at least in my mind.
Easily, but I think they had a chance with Korra, but this movie took it down for me. I liked Korra in the first one. I was like, okay, I got to see more, but the origin and a few things here, yeah, it took it down for me. And not Sophia Patel's fault. She's badass. I like watching her. I hope to see her in other stuff again too. So I don't think any. And that's the thing with this movie. It's not like other than that, to me, the One Emperor character. That's why I can't go solo like some other people, because it's like I think like this, most of it's acted well enough. Like it's not like I don't think it's like, man, we got a bunch of people in here that are just shit actors. Like no, like I think they're good. I think it's just like the materials, they're doing what they can with it, right? There's not too much to chew on. Like Jaimin Hunsu, when he's delivering this stuff, I don't think he's bad. I appreciate the take when people are telling their story and he's crying during all of it. Do I think it's warranted? No, not really. But I think like he's doing the best he can. So yeah, I don't know. Let me look at my notes here.
I really don't have much, honestly.
Emperor sucks. I mentioned that.
Yeah, the Belisarius character, man, he he was really not in this movie like at all. I think he was in it more in the previous one. No,
he just had the end credit in the previous one, so he's like Jimmy. He's just the one scene guy.
Well, no, because yeah, like Korra's father or adopted father, right?
Yeah.
No, because we have the moment when he like stands down, or sorry, he stares down Korra, right? Like it's like a flashback sequence.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not even a flashback sequence.
It is. So when she's younger, but also I think I think it is him. So yeah, you're right. He was in that one more.
And then the end credit when he's it's like a Palpatine moment, but
he's like, whatever. Man, he's slamming something on the ice or whatever the fuck he was doing in that scene. Yeah.
He does not have the gravitas of a character should have in that position. I think like the Dead King has a lot more of a chutzpah than what this guy's got. Like he just seems like a He just seems like a charisma vacuum.
Yes.
He's just
a black hole.
I don't know. I really wouldn't be following this guy into battle, I think. And he's not scary. He's not handsome like
He doesn't
Gunnar.
seem like the guy. If you were to tell me he's another guy on Noble's level, like, okay, I can kind of see that. Like, I still don't even see that, but fine, I can buy that. But the fact that he's gonna be like the big boss is like, oh, like, yeah, I don't have much there. My only note was we talked about a bit, but I was just, and you don't even have to answer this, but I just was like, man, like, Cora and the good hair guy, was it the first time they got it on? I can't remember if they were getting it on. I think it was
I
implied.
couldn't
The first
remember.
one.
I,
Yeah.
I thought that I had assumed that they did, just with how early on they were just slapping cheeks together.
Yeah.
In this one, but I don't remember the specific scene.
I was just wondering how I'd feel in that position if I was single again. Let's say I've lost Emily, and then I'm with somebody, and maybe this is my. I'm just gonna say for the story. It's my first time I hook up with them first time, and the first thing they tell me is a story about how they killed some fucking kid. Like, man, that has to be a huge range of emotions. And he accepts it. He just goes, "I accept you for who you are." I go, "Well, I'd have more questions, dude. Like, I don't know. Like,
I'd be
but,
looking
like,
at her like this. Like, what did you say?
But yeah, so I thought that was kind of that's why I thought it was a little weird to put that scene there, and then later on they all tell their origin stories, so you could just save it there. But yeah, no, I guess he was fine. Hopefully he wasn't like fucking hard or something by the fact of, oh, you killed the royal family. Oh yeah, I hated
He's
them.
just so ready to go. He's like not even
Yeah.
listening to what she's saying. Like,
I'm
I'm so having
reloading.
sex tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, I don't have much because that's always some of my negative things. Is to me when the movie's lackluster and there's a lot of action, there's not much to talk about because like we're not going to sit here and do a breakdown of each scene. And I shout out all the scenes to me that were cool, but. There's a lot of just characters fighting and doing stuff, and even then too, same thing. Like I've seen other people, and I'm happy for them that go, "Oh, this is like Zack Snyder action. This is what I'm looking for." For me, it's not on the same length of like a 300 or Watchmen or BVS, where it's like, okay, those action scenes like really stand out. Like I will always defend, like, because I know some people don't like some of the stupidity moments, but like I think Batman vs Superman, that's a great fucking fight scene with those two. I think that's like a very well done cinematic. Like you feel it. It just sometimes feels very video gamey at times where it's like, okay, I'm just watching a bunch of stuff. And again, maybe if I was invested in all these characters, I wouldn't feel that way. Maybe I'd be hanging on the edge of my seat of each time. But like we lost Nemesis, and I don't know, there's this little storyline she had with the boy where they locked eyes for a couple times and now they're each other's best buddies, and I'm supposed to feel emotional, but not really, like, and Nemesis was gone and I didn't care. I was like, okay, cool. Like someone else is going to get the lightsaber. Moving on.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah. What would you rate this, Mr. Patzer?
Man, like coming into this, I did not think I was anywhere near fail. But like the more we talk about it, am I really gonna pass this movie?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
4.5? Okay.
4.5, almost a pass, but it's just two samesies of the first one, not really pushing the overall direction of the story for my liking, and just real misplay with the focus on where they wanted to go with certain characters, I think, and who we wanted to shine some light on. I think it would have been maybe best focused elsewhere on some different things. And yeah, I don't know. I'm still in that category of individuals that think this probably would have been better as a TV series, but that's not the world we're living in. And yeah, definitely I'm not too curious about the the rated R version. I don't think it has enough in there to really save me from, or not save me, save this movie from my failing grade. But yeah.
Yeah, the rated R versions to me would have been like if we were still in strike and we got that moment where it's like, okay, there's lack of content. This is kind of like similar to the Justice League thing, right? That came out during COVID, and they were very smart, and I think that's why a lot of people watched it too, because like, well, there's not much to watch, but we're not in that moment anymore. Yeah, I'm not lower than you. I'm 4 out of 5 because I think I need more for a full point to get it. But yeah, I think the first one I gave like a 5. Like I think it was no higher than a 6. So I know
I think it was
that.
a 6 on the first one.
Yeah, so maybe it was there. But yeah, and now I'm not gonna say retroactively I would fail that one. I'd have to go back, but this certainly didn't make that half stronger. If anything, it made it weaker, which is not a great thing, So yeah, a 4. I can't remember what I would have never thought that I would have ranked anything higher than Sucker Punch, but like even Sucker Punch, which many times I really didn't like, at least there was some interesting things going on to me where this never has that. To me, that's like has interesting things, and then they kind of, bungle some of the reveals or just the pacing of it. But this is just like I'm never too interested. So unfortunately, because the first Rebel Moon I got lots of Sucker Punch vibes, just even with some of the action stuff. But I think unfortunately I would probably agree with people that if they say this one of these films are his worst films, I would lean that direction now. And I didn't think I'd say it because I do not like Sucker Punch, but it's just the same thing of like if I had to pick one to watch again, what would I pick? And I think I'd pick Sucker Punch, which I never thought I'd say, but I think I would over these two.
I might lean that direction as well.
Yeah. At least there's Oscar Isaacs in there, So
Yeah, I also liked it more than you. So
that's true, right? Yeah, for sure for you. So there you go.
Yeah.
So. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, we'll see. Well, who knows if they make a part 3? We will see. Maybe get some opinions from
be a
other
Taylor
people.
solo review for the
Yeah.
third part.
Taylor and Dylan. We'll get Dylan. Make sure Dylan doesn't watch part 1 and part 2 though, just like he did with Ghostbusters, just fresh out. But yeah, let us know. If you did watch it in our Discord. That's in the link below. Let us know your thoughts. If there's something we missed, if there's something that you thought was really good and positive that we didn't talk about, or you have a different perspective, we're always open. Like as we said before, like a couple weeks ago to promote our movie Win a Vodka stream. Those most Snyder diehard people. We have people on our Discord like that. It's not a thing where I'm not out to hate the guy. I hope the next movie I see is great. And I also don't think it's like one of the worst things ever. I think people just use lots of that stuff with Snyder because like it's an easy like, oh, LOL, he makes another bad movie. But it's like, well, I guarantee you this year there's probably 50 movies you could watch that are million times worse than this. So it's like, just like what you like. And yeah, we'll be back next week with Side Quest, Newscast, X-Men 97, all that good jazz. Thank you very much for tuning in. When you hear from us next, won't be boring.